Have you ever wondered if you're grieving correctly? Today, we'll be exploring that very topic and even learn how to turn our grief into compassion. You may think that this is an overly dramatic or self-indulgent question, but it's one that the Buddha himself contemplated. After all, we all experience loss. Maybe you've lost someone close to you. Maybe your health has been compromised. Maybe you lost something valuable or simply didn't get what you wanted. All these are forms of loss and they cause us to suffer. And when we don't know how to process this suffering in a healthy way, we can end up causing ourselves unnecessary pain. This is why it's so important to learn how to grieve with compassion. So join me today as we explore this universal topic and uncover some helpful tips along the way. Let's get started. The Buddha and impermanence. In Buddhism, everything is seen as impermanent. This means that nothing lasts forever, not our relationships, our health, or even our lives. The Buddha taught that this impermanence is the root of all suffering. When we try to hold on to things that are changing, like trying to keep a bubble from popping, we create suffering for ourselves. He also taught that clinging to fixed ideas about reality is another source of suffering. For example, believing that someone will always be there for us or that our body will always look the same can set us up for disappointment and pain when these expectations aren't met. But where does grief fit into all of this? Well, grief is a natural response to loss. It's a way for us to process the pain of realizing that things change and people aren't always there for us. But just because grief is natural doesn't mean that it's easy. In fact, it can be incredibly difficult to go through, especially if we don't know how to deal with it properly. This is why it's important to learn how to grieve with compassion. Compassion towards ourselves. When we lose someone or something, we often feel guilty, like we could have done something better or said something differently. We might beat ourselves up over what we did wrong, which only adds to our pain. Instead, we need to learn to be compassionate towards ourselves, to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a good friend. This doesn't mean that we excuse our bad behavior, but we need to find a balance between acknowledging our mistakes and forgiving ourselves for them. After all, everyone makes mistakes. It's what we do after making them that defines us. So instead of focusing on what we've done wrong, let's try to focus on how we can move forward in a healthier way. Compassion towards others. In our grief, we might lash out at others, blaming them for our pain or accusing them of not being supportive enough. But this kind of anger is misguided. First, we need to understand that other people don't have control over our emotions. They can't make us feel happy or sad. Only we have that power. Second, even if someone else has hurt us, they are also a victim of their own ignorance and suffering. Holding on to anger and resentment will only cause us more pain. Instead, we should try to see things from their perspective and forgive them. This doesn't mean that we condone their behavior, but we need to realize that everyone is doing the best they can with what they have. And sometimes that's not good enough. But we need to remember that they are also imperfect beings trying to navigate this difficult world just like us. So let's try to approach our relationships with more understanding and patience, turning grief into compassion. Now that we've covered how to be compassionate towards ourselves and others, let's talk about how we can use our grief to make the world a better place. When we face loss, we might feel overwhelmed with negative emotions. But instead of letting these emotions consume us, we can use them as a catalyst for positive change. We can channel our grief into compassion by helping others who are going through similar difficulties. We might not be able to take away their pain, but we can offer a listening ear, a helping hand, or simply a kind word. These small acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's life and help them feel less alone in their suffering. For example, we can volunteer at a hospice or a grief support group. We can also donate to charities that help people cope with loss or support those who are grieving. By helping others, we shift our focus away from our own pain and towards the needs of those around us. This can help us feel more connected to something bigger than ourselves and give us a sense of purpose during a difficult time. In addition to helping others, We can also use our grief to inspire creativity. Many artists, writers, and musicians have channeled their grief into beautiful works of art that have touched the hearts of millions. When we express our emotions through creative outlets, we give them form and meaning. This can help us process our grief in a healthy way and turn it into something positive. It's also important to take care of ourselves when we're grieving. This means eating well, getting enough sleep and exercise, and most importantly, taking time to relax and de-stress. When we're in a state of constant stress, it's difficult to heal and move forward. So we need to make sure that we're taking the time we need to recover. We can also practice mindfulness and meditation to help us process our grief. When we're present in the moment, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. This can help us become more aware of our thought patterns and identify any negative or destructive thoughts that may be holding us back. Meditation can also help us calm our minds and reduce feelings of anxiety or depression. Finally, we should consider talking to a therapist or counselor if we're struggling to cope with our grief. Therapy provides a safe space for us to explore our emotions and develop healthy coping mechanisms. A therapist can also help us work through any underlying mental health issues that may be contributing to our grief. In conclusion, learning how to grieve with compassion is essential to our overall well-being. When we face loss, we must remember to be compassionate towards ourselves and others, and to find ways to turn our grief into something positive. By following the tips above, we can process our grief in a healthy way and move forward in our lives with more wisdom and understanding. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.